Today on the Retro Zoo Super Show, Oh Daisy!
Live from Kakariko Village. Broadcast throughout the Retroverse. Transmitted to the real world via a maze of wires connecting a Super Nintendo to a Wii, to a Wi-Fi network, and finally to the Internet. The Techno Funk Boy presents the Retro Zoo Super Show. Now here are your hosts, Kai and Steven.
Welcome, you have tuned in to the Retro Zoo Super Show, and I am one of your hosts, Kai.
I'm Steven.
So excited. They're so excited. Ah, goodness. Oh, man. Okay, so we need to talk.
Okay.
Because last time, you were trying to make the very foolish case that gaming is going to phones.
I thought you were making that case.
No.
You kept talking about like mobile stuff. Oh, you were sick and you were in bed. You were bedridden.
I was playing Angry Birds. That's not. But the whole point of that was not. It's not the same thing.
And then we had a whole episode about mobile games, pretty much.
Yeah. Well,
you
no.
vehemently denied that it was an episode.
It was
about
one. It was one mobile game. It was one mobile game, and that's it. And there were no other mobile games in that. But yes. When I was sick, I did. I played a lot of Angry Birds. But you were making the case that gaming is going to mobile. I said that gaming on your phone is different. It's fundamentally different. And case in point. So like after we did this episode, and I think in the episode, like I'm announcing that I'm better now. And then there's like a second wave hit me, and I ended up having a respiratory infection, and like my voice was shot. And it's really frustrating because we've recorded all the music to this song that is a parody song, but we're doing it for Dice and Dreary. And it's going to be a lot of fun, but I can't finish doing the harmonies because my voice is still not good when I'm trying to hit the high notes. But like last week, my voice was just completely shot and there was no episode, because of that. But since I was now back in bed, I decided to okay, no, I'm going to give this a chance. This mobile, like serious mobile gaming, like I'm going to like play like an actual game, not some puzzle game, not some Angry Birds or something like that, but an actual game on mobile. And so I bought Final Fantasy, the first one, because it was reasonably priced on mobile. So I was like, okay, this is fantastic. I love this game, and it's been a very long time since I played it. It was in the mid 90s that I played this game. And I promptly got through Garland. I got through the Pirates, and I haven't picked it up since because it's mobile and it just doesn't feel right. It's driving me crazy. So
you don't like it?
No. Well, no. I mean, look. I mean, the port. Well, actually, there's some issues with the port. The port is fine. One thing that just drives me crazy is that like, okay, so like in the Final Fantasy series, Final Fantasy 1 it had the spell system kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, which is very appropriate because they stole everything else from Dungeons and Dragons as well. And just as a quick side note, it's like so very famously, Final Fantasy had mind flayers in it, which was trademark TSR at the time. And this was when TSR was a little Sue happy, which is also hilarious considering how much artwork TSR just completely stole in their early days. But apparently from, just fantasy artists. Yeah. They would take it from pulps and stuff and just, and like just flat out, like, just recreate the exact same piece of art and just it's like, oh, I like that. Let me trace it type of thing. But then they got they found some success and now people are stealing from them and they're like, hey, that's copyright infringement. And so they got a little Sue happy. But somehow Final Fantasy slipped under the radar there. And so like this very obvious mind flayer just kind of completely slipped by him. So this is what I found out this week is that TSR also had created the Sahuagin, the fishmen. Yeah. And that was trademark TSR at the time.
But that comes from Lovecraft, right? I mean, the whole.
But I mean, specifically like the name, not that concept. Yeah.
But the whole. But you got to remember. I mean, there's been lawsuits in the past. I think Harlan Ellison sued Terminator 2 creators because they pulled from a story I actually watched. It was I can't remember the name. It was like an old like TV show. It wasn't Twilight Zone. It was the other one. I can't remember the name of it. But this whole idea about like Judgment Day and everything like that came from Harlan Ellison. Basically the entire, and I think he won the lawsuit. I mean, I think he got some money from it.
Yeah.
But so you can basically put enough of the pieces together. You not even use the name, the Sahuagin.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Enough, desire to get some money out of somebody else,
right?
Which is what most lawsuits are about.
I mean, goodness, the mind flayers themselves are just so Cthulhu-like, except, on a smaller scale. And so, I mean, it's like, Dungeons and Dragons were being influenced so much by the pulps at the time.
Lord of the Rings. I mean,
well, that's a different story. Gygax, man, he claimed to have hated Lord of the Rings. These are words that he said, even though he accidentally put the word Hobbit, like I think it was in the first edition, like in the halfling area. It accidentally slipped through that they hadn't scratched out Hobbit at every point, put halfling, and so he actually Hobbit's in there. But he claimed that he hated Lord of the Rings, and he was much more of a Conan man, which I mean that's true. He really did love the barbarian stories. But I mean, you can't. But it's like, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like you can't
have a ranger class and not be paying homage to Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry.
Oh goodness. I mean, yeah, yeah. Well, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, it's like Dungeons & Dragons drew from all these elements, but the term itself, Sahuagin, is a TSR invention. And I didn't realize that because Sahuagin's been like in every single Final Fantasy, even through Final Fantasy 15, which just came out a couple of years ago. And so it's like, oh dang guys, y'all just had the Monsters Manual just like open right in front of you, didn't you?
Hey, I have a theory that just popped into my head.
Okay.
Do you think fighting the Sahuagin, because they're fish-like people and it's easier to kill a fish, like if you're going fishing, like you don't start hunting by like hunting like beautiful deer. You usually start by fishing, and then you have to kill a fish. You have to gut it and everything like that. But it's a fish. It's kind of like it's almost not animate. I mean, they're just so, like kind of their eyes just stare off into nowhere. I mean, it's easier to kill a fish. So you think that they prepare you for greater enemies by like having you kill fish men first before you actually fought higher level?
That could be. I have to say, I've been fishing several times, and I'm terrible at killing them. I haven't fished since I was a kid because it's not something I enjoy.
Oh, you don't like fishing? I was just about to invite you, dude. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to invite you now.
No, please don't. I'm not going to accept that. Okay. I should just ran across again because I've watched Parks and Rec. Just a crazy amount of times because I love that show. But one of the great Ron Swanson quotes was that he really likes fishing. It really relaxes him. It's like yoga. Plus, he gets to kill things. And it was such a great quote. Okay. So goodness, we went off topic. Okay, so the topic was in Final Fantasy 1, the spell system is like Dungeons and Dragons, where they have spells per level, and so you cast a level 1 spell, and your mage or your black mage or white mage or red mage or whoever it is has a certain number of level 1 spells, a certain number of level 2 spells, and that's the traditional Dungeons and Dragons style. But after that, Final Fantasy games went to straight magic point system, where cure costs 6 magic points, and so if you have a total of 60 MP, you can cast it 10 times, or you can cast Meteor once, or however, whatever. So they did away with the level system, and now it just became kind of you have a total amount of mana to use, and each spell costs a certain amount. Which has been fine. I remember when I originally played the Realm Online, one of the things that they were toying with, because they were working toward nerfing the magic users a bit, because we were exceedingly overpowered at the time. And one of the ideas that popped up was to go to that Dungeons and Dragons system, and I thought it was a ridiculously stupid idea. And I wrote about it in our guild newspaper about how dumb it was. And it's was that
on the front page? Just was it like a front page with you like holding your finger up in the air, like with a frown?
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was. It was a really early MMORPG, and so you couldn't actually raise your finger, but I had my picture there, and it was on the first page because I was the editor. But yeah, it's like, I even put in there that look, Final Fantasy 1 tried to do this, and it was really dumb then too. And I just me writing that just really came back and bit me. Because now it's like, now I'm playing Final Fantasy 1 with they've replaced that system with a magic point system, and I'm like all indignant, like, I can't believe you would do this, my precious magic system from this classic game. And it's like super
nobody
annoying.
Wants their OP units to like lose their OP.
Well, but just the fact that
without that cap limit,
but just the fact that I said that it was dumb in Final Fantasy, and now they've changed it, and I'm infuriated at it.
Yeah.
And they've changed a lot of like the enemy names for like zero reason, like I think they changed Asp to Cobra. I'm like, why?
Because that's too many kids accidentally said Asp, and they had a lisp, so they actually just said Asp. And they
PG show, man.
I'm sorry, like a donkey. And they said it in front of their family, and got in trouble, and so they had to change.
I don't think that's actually what happened. But sure, why not?
That's how I'm going.
But it's like, I mean, there's a lot of like the changes like that, like, what was it? Like they changed like the Mad Pony to something. I'm probably like completely misremembering this, and there's no actual Mad Pony in Final Fantasy. Let me make sure that's
maybe that was your imaginary friend that you've totally forgotten about, the Mad Pony, and now you're like,
okay, yeah, they've changed it now to Crazy Horse, but.
That sounds like a Native American name.
Well, yeah, that's true. But yeah, like in Final Fantasy, original Final Fantasy, I'm almost sure it was called Mad Pony. And maybe they named it Crazy Horse in later games and wanted just to make it consistent. But it's like, this is the thing we're used to. And so like now it's like, I'm like, I'm having all this nostalgia. I'm like, oh yeah, we're fighting the Mad Pony. That doesn't say Mad Pony. That says Crazy Horse. And it's the same thing, but it's not,
Dude, you just summed up my whole problem with Star Wars. With the new episodes, it was or episodes 1, 2, and 3, the prequels, is that you go into it thinking you're seeing Star Wars, and then it's not Star Wars. Like, wait, they just changed the Force? I mean, it's like that. I mean, but you're sitting there, and the difference is it's been 10 years, 15 years of anticipation, and it all comes crashing down. But it's not probably that bad with going from Mad Pony to Crazy Horse, I'm assuming. That's not soul crushing.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to that, doesn't it, for you?
That's pretty much, if I have the biggest chip on my shoulder, so it's going to come out every now and then.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, anyways, I've been trying to get into that. I did finally make my way over to Elfland. And so we're moving right along in the game. But yeah, it's really hard for me to like sit down with it, with my phone in my hand.
But how many times are you not doing anything? Like, I mean, you're sitting somewhere, you're waiting in an elevator. It's like you could be playing every one of those times.
Waiting in an elevator? Where do you think I live? Waiting in an elevator?
I thought there was that really tall building in Kakariko Village, and like you had to pay rent, like some bill or like light bill or something at the very top of it. Remember, we always go there. It takes forever to get to the top.
Oh my gosh! No, I mean, there have been a couple of times that I've just picked it up and started level grinding, because I need to look it up. It doesn't look like the level grinding has been modified in the game, which especially like, okay, so like one mobile port I really did enjoy was Dragon Warrior. And that one's a little bit easier to port because there's like zero plot. But one of the things they did was really, really make level grinding and gold grinding a lot easier in that game. And, made you level up and get gold a lot faster. And made it, it's like, I adore that game. I've played it a lot. It's the level grind is real in that game. It's not something you mess around with. And so that was kind of cool that they kind of pulled that back. Well, the level grinding in Final Fantasy is, I mean, this is the same era of JRPGs, and level grinding was a way that they fleshed out these games to make them longer. And I mean, I've always kind of enjoyed level grinding. I find it to be relaxing. It's like yoga, except I get to kill things. I'm finding it's like, it doesn't feel like I'm gaining levels any faster. I might be, they might have adjusted a little bit, but I don't feel like I am. Which is something that surprised me. It's like y'all went in there and changed the Mad Pony to the, Crazy Horse. And so I'm not sure why you can't, spend that effort into something that, would actually have a quality of life improvement. But it doesn't feel like they did. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a fascinating venture into mobile gaming. So do you think you're going to keep getting classic games and games that you've played previously on mobile?
Well, I said I played I said I played Dragon Warrior. I don't think I mentioned I bought Dragon Warrior 2 like a year ago on mobile because I enjoyed the Dragon Warrior port so much. But there's no plot in Dragon Warrior, and there is a little bit of a plot in Dragon Warrior 2. And the game wanted me to pay attention to that. and it was really killing the vibe. And so
You were like,
I gave
no,
up
I'm
on it.
Dragon Warrior. Why? There's not
It's like,
supposed to be a plot.
well, but I mean, it was one of those things. It's like, I'm sitting on my phone, in this giant elevator that apparently we spend so much time in. It's like, I'm not here for that. And so it never really caught my attention. I just, I'm trying, but games on the phone, it's just, I'm not feeling it.
Let's wait 10 years and let's see if you even have a desktop. You probably get everything on your phone.
Sure,
We're
exactly.
We're going to find some
what,
better interface. I mean, ultimately, I think we're all going to be on phones. It's just that they're not as powerful as computers right now. They will be. And we'll be doing everything on our phones. I mean, they'll expand, pull out different screens or something. I don't know. Apple
said that when the iPad came out.
That we were all gonna have iPads in our back pocket.
Yeah. That we weren't. That we wouldn't really need the desktop computer anymore, because this thing could do everything the desktop could do, and it's portable and all. And it's just it doesn't. It didn't take off. It didn't.
He's probably right. It probably would have worked. But everybody felt so dumb when they were typing on a screen in front of other people because they couldn't stop thinking of data and now I feel like I'm, on a starship.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Star Trek actually messed the iPad up, even though it inspired it.
But they added like a keyboard on it and stuff. But it just, I'm telling you, man, it's like, the old phrase, the medium is the message.
Well, there's because
part
PC
of that too.
There's advantages to Microsoft over Apple, and that's the problem. Is they were selling their OS if both Microsoft and Apple had both come out with like a tablet type thing with a, I don't know. Except I don't know.
I just fundamentally believe that there's something different depending on the medium that you're using. PC gaming feels different than console gaming. And even if you're like, obviously back in the old days when I started PC gaming and you were using, the mouse and the keyboard, but even if you're using your actual Xbox controller on the PC, it feels different. When you have okay, so like the Nintendo Switch came out and it's portable. Like you can pull it out of the case and you can take it with you. I think that works because it's Nintendo, and Nintendo makes different games than everybody else. Nintendo has a different strategy, and I think that kind of stuff works with that. Whereas I don't know that, some serious FPS is ever really going to find a home that way. There's just a difference there, and it's hard to quantify, but it's kind of the same way that reading an actual book versus reading your Kindle it's different, and it catches your attention differently.
You know what I think it is, though? Partly, I think it's because we grew up reading books and we grew up doing more material type activities, and we grew up on PCs. And so now that there's something different, we can't totally accept it because it's not our roots. It's not our stock. It's not geared into us. But I think once we've gone on, our children or the next generations or whoever, they're not going to see the importance of the PC because we probably never let them get on it. We'll play on the iPad, like daddy's using the PC. So like maybe that generation will like freak out about the PC for a little bit, but it'll probably won't be to the level that we did in terms of just using it as a tool. And then they'll be, their roots will be the iPad. And so that's what they'll play. And then, I feel like it's partly because we're not, that's not our background or I feel like it's the next generation's thing is to use only phones. And you see that, you actually see that there's this generation, the next generation is way more phone savvy, I think, than our generation and have used it from a younger age, so they're more fluid with it, like a language. I don't know. Whatever. No, I don't make any sense.
Wow.
I'm eating some chocolate now because I need some type of aphrodisiac to deal with the sadness that was coming over me.
Wow.
Our generation is going. Where's my chocolate?
Nice. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, speaking of which.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to be talking about Super Mario Land today, which is the first entry into actual portable gaming for Mario. Came out on the Game Boy in 1989. It's kind of interesting. It had pretty much a simultaneous release in both America and Japan, which is really, really weird. And I think the reason is because they wanted this to be part of the launch lineup for the Game Boy. That's the first time Nintendo is coming out with a new system, and they wanted Mario to be there. Compare that to like Super Mario Brothers 3 on NES, where in Japan they got it in 1988 and we didn't get it till 1990. There was such an incredible lag on a lot of those games back then that, it would like in the case of Mario 3, which is, perhaps the greatest platformer ever made. They didn't bother getting it to America for 2 years. But Mario Land gets over here pretty much right away. And I think this actually is kind of makes things a little bit interesting because, Japan was getting this game in the context of Mario 3. Whereas we were not. We had Mario, Super Mario Brothers 1 and 2, and our Super Mario 2 was kind of, it was a very different game. And so when we were getting Mario Land, it was kind of a return to the original Super Mario Brothers style for us. Which, I just think it's interesting. It kind of puts it in a different context for us. And it might have made some of the things it does in the game a little bit more impressive for us because we had not yet gotten the magnificence of Mario Brothers 3, whereas Japan had. All right. So we are going to go to a break. And during the break, we're going to listen to a little bit of, Hip Tanaka's, overworld theme. We will talk about the music a little bit more, but this is just a great tune. And we will be back. And so, welcome back. All right. So, have you played this game before?
No, actually, I haven't, and I felt, I don't know. I had a Game Boy. I had the original Game Boy, but I was
going to ask. I was like, I just normally just assume you haven't played a Nintendo game, but you had a Game Boy, but you didn't play this.
We didn't have a Nintendo. We only had a Game Boy, and yeah, we did not have this game. It was a hand-me-down Game Boy. It actually came from a cousin.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Game Boy did come with Tetris. It did not come packaged with this game, and so it wasn't quite like Super Mario Brothers 1.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. So this is the first in the series that the series is actually going to morph into the Wario Land series instead of Mario Brothers as it goes. But this is the first of that. And a couple of things I thought were just really kind of cool about it is that, first of all, the first couple of levels really, really, really feel like Super Mario Brothers. And I think one of the reasons that some people don't like this game is that it feels so close to the original Super Mario Brothers that when something is changed, it feels really kind of strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like little stuff. Like you get the flower. And so you're like, okay, I'm in a Mario game. This means I have fire. And you run up to a monster and you push B and he shoots out a little ball and the monster dies. And you're like, yeah, I'm Fire Mario. But you're not. It's actually like this Super Ball Mario that, he'll bounce it off the ground, but then it kind of ricochets in, at a diagonal wherever it's going. It doesn't like hang on the ground like a fireball does. And it can actually collect coins for you. But you got the flower, and the first thing you do with it is you kill an enemy with it, and it feels so much like a fire flower that the first time you just shoot it off and it shoots into the sky and starts collecting coins for you, you're like, what in the world just happened here? And it's the same thing with like the Koopas. It's like when you stomp on them, their little shell just collapses, and you immediately try to kick the shell because Mario.
Right.
But it's not actually a shell, it's a bomb. And so like it kills you. And so you're expecting it to do a thing, and it doesn't do that thing. And in fact it does something very dangerous. And it wouldn't feel like that if the first couple levels were not so close to Super Mario Brothers. You're expecting it to work like Super Mario Brothers, but it doesn't. And so that's something that I think kind of throws people off. The other thing that's really, really notable about it is, in not a good way, is how freaking tiny Mario is.
Yeah. I was looking at a screenshot, and I've seen this. Now that I'm looking at it, like I've seen it played. I may have played it once or twice, but he is really small. Right.
So Mario is 12 pixels big, and this is on the tiny Gameboy screen, which is not backlit. If you remember, it's not backlit.
Right, you could get the attachment with the light. Remember that?
Right, attachment? Yeah. You had to shine a light right at it so you could see.
A little book light on it.
Yeah. And so Mario was so small in this that it's very if you don't know where you are, you can very easily get into some trouble and not even realize you're getting into trouble because some of the dangers are just very difficult to see. This is completely solved by playing on the Super Game Boy. Once you get it on a bigger screen.
They had a magnifying attachment glass.
Yeah, yeah.
So all you had to do was get the magnifying, so you're like an old person. Like, I can't see Mario.
Well, yeah, exactly.
My magnifying glass and my reading glasses are.
Well, yeah, getting used to the game also solves the problem. But this is one of the problems with Game Boy at the time. It's because, do you make a sprite that's really kind of large and cool and lush and looks awesome? Because when you do, he's going to take up half the screen. And that's actually the direction they go in Mario Land 2. That we'll talk about next week, is they make him very big, and they make it work in that game. But in a lot of games, it just doesn't work. You can't actually do anything with this character because he's too frickin' big. Or you can make him small, like proportional to what the size he'd be like on an NES, on a television. But that being the case, it makes it very difficult to see him. And that's the direction they went with this game. And so I know a lot of people had trouble with the game just because of that. But once you get used to the game and once you figure out the mechanics and the physics of the game, actually I think this game is just really exceptionally cool and a really neat chapter in the Mario universe. So a couple of things that have changed is that you're not going after Peach. You're trying to save Princess Daisy.
You got a new girl?
A new girl, yeah, absolutely. And this is like this. I mean, and we feel like that we know what the Mario formula is now, but at the time there was not really a Mario formula. It's like and we all know. Okay, Super Mario Brothers 2 was not really Super Mario Brothers 2. We all know that story, but I mean, just consider the way we got these games in America. Is we got Super Mario Brothers. And then we got Mario 2, which is a completely different game with a completely different bad guy and a completely different goal. And you're not saving a princess at all. In fact, you can play as Peach. And then we jump to Mario 3, which in a way is a return to Mario 1, but with a lot more stuff added. And it's like, and instead of just fighting Bowser every level, you have the Koopa Kids. You have airships and auto-scrollers and overworld maps and just all these different enemies and stuff.
So wait, I'm still like hung up on Princess Daisy. So
we're getting back to Princess Daisy.
Okay, let's keep going. I'm sorry.
Right. And so then then we jump to Mario World. We're getting Yoshi and we're getting haunted houses and we're starting to dig in on a theme now because we have Bowser now appearing in his I think third game. So we're starting to dig in on a theme, and then Mario 64 brings us into 3D, and now we're really starting to dig in. Now we've got Bowser yet again. We're saving the princess yet again, but this is way before that. Saving right. Princess Peach was not a thing that you just naturally did every single game then. This was, we hadn't quite established all of these things that we now associate with Mario. We're starting to, but they're not quite there yet. And so in this case, I mean, this is at this point, you're not just like, this guy who just obsessively follows around Princess Peach and saves her every time she's in danger. You're just like this really nice guy who goes and saves people when they need it. And so you get word that this Princess Daisy has been captured in this place called Sarasaland. And so you're like, okay, well, let me go help them out. Because that's what Mario does. Starting to get good at this saving the princess stuff. So this alien named Tatanga has come and kidnapped Daisy, and you've got to go through the different worlds of Sarasaland in order to save her. And so this is where we really start departing from what the Super Mario Brothers was. And I think it's really cool the way the game does it, is that it starts you off in something that seems a little familiar, and it gradually, takes you into a place that's unfamiliar but still kind of cool. And this starts in World 1, where World 1 feels very familiar, but you might notice some pyramids in the background, and that's because you're in Barabudo. I don't know that I'm pronouncing any of these words right, but we're going to keep going.
I'm enjoying listening.
Yeah, which is like this kind of ancient Egyptian type of a place. And so once you get to world 1-3, and in each of these worlds have 3 levels in them. Once you get into world 1-3, the music has changed to a very, very Egyptian sounding theme, and you're fighting against sphinxes and stuff.
Right.
And so, so this is how they have transitioned you from thinking, okay, yes, I understand this, the Mushroom Kingdom, into something very, very different. World 2 is the Muda Kingdom, which is mostly a water world, but it kind of does something cool, because water stages are terrible in pretty much all cases.
I love water stages. Those are always my favorite in every game.
That's not. Are you making up stuff just to?
Dude, no, I'm serious. I always, because it was like you were flying. It was like you got to fly.
Wow.
That's why I liked it.
Wow. Oh gosh. But so like World 2, 1 and 2, 2, you are platforming over the water, so you're trying not to sink into the water. But in World 2, 3, you're going down into the water, but they're not making you swim. You're in a submarine, and the level is a shoot 'em up. It's an auto-scrolling shoot 'em up where you got this submarine, and you're just shooting all the bad guys coming at you. And it's like, all of a sudden this Mario game turned into a shmup, and it was great, and it feels really good. It's completely unexpected. You're not thinking that this is going to happen in a Mario game. But all of a sudden, all the fish are swimming at you, and you've got to blow them up, because that's what you do when you fish.
That's what you do when you fish. You kill them.
You kill them. Yeah. It's like yoga. It's very relaxing.
You gotta kill something.
Right. Yeah. And so from there you go to the Eastern Kingdom, which is a lot of it is based off the Easter Island. They got those giant stone heads. Well, those stone heads attack you here, which is great. And you get to stomp them.
I always knew what those Easter heads were supposed to do.
Yeah, you stomp them. That's how you kill them. Well, but they have a cool mechanic in this world that there's some areas with just spikes over them, but these boulders are bouncing around, and you have to jump on and off the boulders to get across. And it's just, again, it's like a little bit of variety into the platforming, and it's actually training you on how to face off against the boss of the level, because to get through the boss to the key where you can, make him explode, I guess. I don't know exactly how that works, but he's chucking rocks at you, and you have to platform consistently up the rocks to get over him. It's a very, very cool fight. Again, not something you are expecting in a Mario game. It reminds me of the fights in America's, Mario 2, where, you have to use your surroundings a little bit, and, catch the bombs and check them back. Or when Birdo spits an egg, you have to catch it and throw it back. It reminds me of those types of boss levels. Then the final kingdom is called the Chai Kingdom, and it's very much of a Chinese environment with that style of music as well. And these levels are a lot of fun. And then finally, when you get to the last stage, 4-3, you're entering another shmup, and you're now in a plane, shooting birds and clouds and bad guys.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and you finally reach Daisy there. And so it's exceedingly short game. Just to refresh myself, I watched a Let's Play of it today, and the person playing collected every single possible coin, which is just really a pet peeve of mine when I'm watching somebody play Mario. the guy ended the game with like 42 lives. It's like, why are you chasing all of these coins? But even doing that, even playing every level and trying to get every single coin in these levels, he still beat the game in 30 minutes. And so this is a very, very short game. You can play it very quickly, especially if you know where you're going and what you're doing in it. But it's a great little platformer, and it has a lot of really neat ideas, a lot of variety. Every world looks different. They have, a lot of enemies that are different in each world. The music is, a lot of times is unique to that world and that style. We should mention, we played a little bit of the music over the break, but, Hip Tanaka did the music. And we've talked about Hip Tanaka before because, he composed Earthbound, but he also did, stuff like Metroid, some like really early innovative stuff on the NES, real great, pioneer in the field. And he did these different types of songs in certain styles to really bring out the atmosphere of the world. And that gives each of the worlds a very unique feel to it. And so this game ends up being, remarkably short and not overly hard, but a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun to play.
There was no fallout from it being so short, right? I mean, this is before that when people used.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is, there wasn't a standard. This is, one of the first Game Boy games that come out.
Yeah.
No. Well, I mean, but Mario 3 had come out on NES, but, there's a kind of understanding. Once again, going back to the theme of the medium is the message, right? Is that, this is a Game Boy game. They're not expecting you to play Mario 3 on a Game Boy game. They're, these games are supposed to be something that you can pick up in a much shorter period of time. And that's kind of the way these games were designed. And so no, it really wasn't an issue that the game was this short. That was kind of felt like what it should have been, at the time.
Well, you're not going to play that. You're not going to play it that fast either. The guy was. I'm sure he knew what he was doing.
Well, yeah, and he didn't die. It's like when I first got it as a kid, and I got the Game Boy pretty quick, and so I was probably 12 when I had the Game Boy. It's like I was not very good at games. I'm still not great, but I'm much better than I was then. And so, it took me a lot of playing to get good enough that I could beat the game. And then I played it several more times to get through it and to beat it again. And got to the point where I was becoming quite good at the game, and I knew where all the hidden mushrooms were and all that. And so I could fly through it pretty good. But yeah, it's like, at least I definitely felt like I got my money's worth out of the game. I played this game quite a bit as a kid. I really did love it.
So was Princess Daisy, was she Luigi's love interest? Because I'm seeing that under her thing on Wikipedia. Was that ever expressed in Super Mario Land, or was that just like in a? It sounds like
Mario Land. No, I don't. Mario 10 maybe. It probably actually was. It's like I've seen that too. That Daisy kind of just ends up with Luigi. And I don't know where that's from, but it probably was something like Mario Tennis, where they, all this stuff happens that I have no idea. And, and I was like, I don't normally play those games. And so it's like all of the plot going on in there.
She does. She's rumored to have a love interest with Luigi, but
it's unofficial.
Luigi is actually also like her, and she doesn't like that. That's what her thing says on Wikipedia.
Well, nobody likes Waluigi,
but she doesn't like that he likes her, on top of not liking him.
Wow, so it's like double whammy. It's like, not only do I don't like you, I also don't like that you like me. It's like the fact that you even look in my general direction is kind of pissing me off.
It makes me want to puke. That's probably why he is bad.
Yeah, I mean, goodness, it's like, yeah. I think a lot of us were saved from a path of evil. By getting a girlfriend. Well, yeah, it's like, well, come on. And it's like, and this is a Mario family problem. What was it? Was in the movie that it was established that their last name is Mario? And so it's Mario, and Luigi Mario. I think it was in the movie or in the show. One of those two that their last name is Mario. But this is a Mario family problem that, like, you're going after women that are, kind of, just a little bit above you. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say nicely. And they're also attractive and Mario's not. And it's like, you're a fat plumber and you're going after a princess. And
hey, dude, Mario is the everyman.
And it's like, okay, so I'm gonna spoil. Well, yeah. Hey, look at me and look at Anla. I'm just gonna say, but okay, so like I'm gonna spoil a little bit of the ending of Mario Odyssey here. So if y'all don't want that, then skip ahead. But like at the end of the game, you interrupt the forced wedding that Bowser's trying to marry Peach, and you interrupt it and you save the day. And so it ends with like Mario trying to get Peach to marry him, and also Bowser giving it one last shot, even though like he's just kidnapped her, and giving it one last shot and going, no, marry me. And she says no to both of them. And I'm sitting there and it's like, this is really depressing me because, you got Mario here and like he has risked his life to save you multiple times, has clearly proven himself not only devoted and anxious to please, I guess, but also quite capable, and you've got a dragon with a turtle shell who keeps kidnapping you, and you have both of them in front of you, like you're Peach, you have both of them in front of you, and she's like, nah, I'll just stay single. And if you're Mario, you've got to just like feel like utter crap in that moment. It's like, I couldn't even beat out Bowser.
What maybe she's going for like the ultimate prize, which is like,
fun. You've got Mario, you've got Luigi, you've got Bowser. No, then you've got Turtles Mario, and Toads.
She realizes Mario is the one, but she doesn't want him to think that she's too easy. She's like, I don't care that you save me a million times. Like, I want to see you suffer for a little while before I say yes.
It has been like 35 years.
That's what a princess does, though, man. Like, that's why they're called princesses. Like, I just want to watch you suffer.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, it's like I'm just waiting for that. I'm just waiting for that moment that Mario is like, really, again. You know what? You're on your own. I gave you a shot last time. You're like, no, thank you.
No,
so
it sets his heart on fire even more. That's my opinion.
Wow.
I think he's more like, whoa, she's so hard to get. I can't even get her after beating Bowser. She wants to make sure he has health insurance and stuff. She's like, does your plumbing job give you health insurance? Because
I've yet to see him work on a pipe, and this is like a legit job in the Mushroom Kingdom because all the pipes have these fire breathing piranha plants in them. It's like this. If anywhere on the face of the earth really needs a plumber, it's the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario.
It's like, Mario, just like chill out for a little bit and go clean out the pipes. And
Well, what do you think he's doing every time he jumps down one? Boop, 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 boop. He's going to like plunge it out.
oh gosh, now we're getting to the real issue. What's really going on is like Mario's like super lazy and he won't clean out the pipes. And so now like things are getting bad. And so Peach just like calls up Bowser and is like, hey, can you come kidnap me? We got to get him off his butt.
You know what?
And cleaning some pipes. That's
dude. No, here's the next level. Here's the dream within a dream. Princess Daisy and Bowser are all like his fantasy imagination. He's supposed to be working. He's supposed to be jumping down those pipes and cleaning them out, but he like comes up with this whole game because he's just lazy. He's not a very good plumber.
I mean, there's something to that. And like people have played with this theory online, but okay. So let's go back a little bit to the NES Mario games. Okay. Mario 2, the American Mario 2. If you beat the game, it's revealed that this is all a dream that Mario is having. All right.
Are you serious, dude? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the last scene is Mario sleeping and he has a thought bubble over his head, and it's the last scene of the game. And so this is all a dream. Mario 3, and this has been confirmed, by the creators. Mario 3 is a stage play version of basically the events of Mario 1, but that have been elaborated. And that's why there's a curtain at the beginning. And if you look at like some of the scenery, it like casts a shadow on the sky. And that's because the sky's not the sky. It's a backdrop. And so that leaves us with Mario 1 as the only real adventure of Mario. But even then in Mario 1, and this really bothers me, at the end of the game, when you beat the game, Princess Peach will say, thank you for saving me. We present you with a new quest or something like that. I know she says we, and it's like, who is we? Because the only other person around is Bowser. So is this a setup? What do you mean we present you with a new quest?
Well, she's the princess of a kingdom, and so is all the people of the kingdom. Okay,
but even then, it's like, but that's when you can start the game over, but it's harder now. And that's what she means is, now hit whatever B or whatever it is to start the new quest. And so she's like setting this up. So it's like, I don't even think Mario 1 is real. So all of this stuff, I think this is,
she keeps upping the ante, making it harder and harder.
That could be. All I'm saying is I'm not convinced that Mario is actually the hero. I think this is all a plot. He's a figurehead, I don't know if Peach is trying to get sympathy from the subjects. And
maybe he's just a lazy craftsman or whatever. He's supposed to be plumbing and he's just sleeping on the job. Having dreams about Princess Peach and fighting dragons and stuff.
And meanwhile, Luigi's doing all the work. That's...
Yeah, well, somebody's got to keep him employed. I mean...
Oh, goodness. Oh, wow. Oh, so we'll talk more about Lazy Mario next week.
Sweet.
In the Mario Land series, with the game 6 golden coins, which is actually fantastic. Another fantastic entry in the Mario saga. And so please do join us next week. We are. I'm really hopeful that we're going to be able to do the next Mega Man song next week. But honestly, man, getting sick just laid me out 2 weeks and really got me behind.
You got to get your rest, man. I mean, we need everybody needs you. We all need you, dude. So like when you start getting sick, dude, I get nervous. And I know all your listeners do too. I mean, we're all actually we have a private Discord that you don't know about. Where
private Discord, right?
Talk about your health and are you going to be better? Is it going to record this week?
This is fantastic for my ego. I got to say.
No, we take it very seriously.
So, Yeah, goodness. So check that out then. Yeah, we do have a Discord. Please do check the show notes for the link there. We do have a Patreon. All the Mega Man songs that we record and we put out, really most of the songs that we do, we've done some other ones as well, like the Dragon Warrior ones. These are available to our patrons over at Patreon, at patreon.com/technofunkboy. I am, right now, all of the Mega Man songs for the year, all the Mega Man songs are being released at any level on the Patreon. But the first Mega Man songs I released, I'm going to start moving them up to the $3 level, which is supposed to be the music level. And so if you want to go snag those before I do that for any amount, then you can do that. They will be, at the any level amount, any amount level. I keep saying any level amount. That doesn't even make sense. Any amount level, for a few more weeks, but I am going to be moving those to a different level. So if you want all of the Mega Man songs that all the ones that we've released, you can download today for a single $1. Then please go do that. And please hang around because the new Mega Man songs will all be released at that any, amount level, for, the duration of however long we're doing this. But they will eventually be moved as well. And so, take advantage of that, cause, there's some really cool songs. I've been really happy with what we've been doing with those. I've been very impressed. So, please do check that out. And, otherwise, yeah, I think that'll do it. Am I missing anything?
I can't really think of anything. I'm just, I think we about covered it. I mean, we got to some philosophy and to some gameplay and to some graphics, and I think we covered all our bases this time. This was really tight.
All right. Well, thank y'all for listening, and we will catch y'all next week.
Later.
The Retro Zoo Super Show is brought to you by the Techno Funk Boy. Follow us on Twitter at TechnoFunkBoy, on Facebook at the Techno Funk Boy, and sign up for our email list at technofunkboy.com. Also look for us on Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon for music. If you are so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast catcher. If you are not so inclined, you are obviously some sort of villain trying to conquer the world. Unowned music and gameplay clips are used for educational and critical purposes. Thank you for listening, keep gaming, and once you have responsibilities that need to be done at this time, then you can game later.